Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2! It's a challenge, Kakarot!
As a transitional point from basic to advanced technical mastery, I believe the combo breaker would be a good idea to fit in here. The combo breaker is a defensive technique that was supposed to be added into the move list, but never was. While this technique is not in the move list, the creators never took it out of the game. This technique would later be altered into what is known as the secondary Z counter for Tenkaichi 3, in which they also include a teleport strike. In Tenkaichi 2, on the other hand, it is simply a means of stopping a combo by deflecting a single attack of the combo set. However, the timing of this technique is extremely tight, to the point that even button mashing will not get you very far. To perform correctly, a player must calculate the exact instant of impact of the opponent's melee attack. Once done, the player must press up and square at the exact time as the attack makes impact. If performed correctly, the player will hear a loud boom, as if one were to block a directionally strong charged melee with 100% effectiveness. This sonic boom will be displayed with a slight shockwave at the location of impact as the attack is blocked. This will immediately stop the opponent's combo and will allow the opportunity for counterattack. This defensive technique works against all melee attacks, including base melee, charged melee, hooks, and grabs, though it seems to have no effect against rush attacks. Like Ki Blast deflection and defensive teleportation, successful combo breakers will also grant the defensive player a slight boost in blast stocks, so it would be a good idea to learn this technique. Rush chaining. Transformations have always been one of my favorite aspects of the Dragon Ball Z franchise. It is a way of letting the viewers know the situation just got real. In terms of gameplay, however, many debates have come to pass regarding what part transformations should play during combat. Some games use transformations as a means of allowing the character to boost attributes. Some games use transformations as a means of presenting new tactical advantages to the player through new abilities. Transformations have been used in Budokai 3 as a means of breaking the opponent's shield and even continuing combo juggles. In Tenkaichi 2, transformations alter levels of attributes, change character abilities in terms of support blasts, super blasts and hooks, change the melee physical output of the character relating to punches, kicks, or weapon usage during the combo sets, alter character size, and even character demeanor. In Tenkaichi 2, even a character that hunches will hold advantage over a character that stands straight up. However, the effects of a transformation is not what takes precedence for this point. The following tactic requires an understanding of real time versus game time. As simple a concept as this may seem, I still believe it is necessary to explain. Real time relates to how time passes, regardless of what is perceived within the game. Game time is how time is perceived within the game itself. In Tenkaichi 2, one may be able to see the difference when watching a character initiate a super blast that exhibits a buffer animation, or close-up animation. During this animation, real time will continue to pass, while game time will freeze until the animation is complete. This can be seen if a player were to attempt to do any technique that is interrupted by the opponent's buffer animation. The player's character does not continue to perform the intended attack during the buffer animation, regardless of what he presses on the controller. Instead, he must wait until the buffer animation is complete. Looking at this example, player 1 is using Kid Buu. The opponent is using the Great Saiyaman. Player 1 has just breached the step-in barrier and has begun a combo set. Right before player 1's melee reaches the opponent executes a super explosive wave. The super explosive wave includes a buffer animation prior to releasing the attack. During this buffer animation, player 1's combo does not continue until after the animation is complete. Had the combo executed by player 1 been constructed with real time, the combo would have hit the opponent during the buffer animation, stopping the super explosive wave from being released. However, since it is constructed within game time, and game time freezes during buffer animation, the combo is not able to reach the opponent during the animation. This, again, requires the player to always know what options are available to the opponent, even when he believes he has the upper hand. So now that you know the difference between real time and game time, let's move forward to the tactic of discussion, chaining. Built as a mechanical limitation to prevent overwhelming spammish behavior, once the Super Blast is executed, supplementary Super Blasts cannot be executed immediately, regardless of how much ki is possessed by the player. In order to perform supplementary Super Blasts such as the chargeable Kamehameha, the player must wait 3 to 4 seconds after release before performing another. In order to perform supplementary Super Blasts that include a buffer animation, one must wait 3 to 4 seconds after the initiation of the buffer animation. In order to perform supplementary rush attacks, the player must wait 2 seconds after the release of the rush attack animation. Rush attacks release their victims with a velocity and aftermath that keeps rush attacks from linking to each other. However, this time span is not built upon game time, it is built upon real time. It is with this concept that we are able to manipulate game time with real time to create consecutive attacks with Super Blasts, most acknowledged with rush attacks, depending on what type of rush attack is being used. We do this with the incorporation of the transformation. When a character transforms, game time freezes, while real time continues. However, as the waiting period between Super Blasts is based on real time, we can use the transformation as a means to link Super Blasts together because transformations cover up to 4 seconds. Let us consider Goten for this example, as his base form and Super Saiyan form both possess the same rush attack with an acceptable directional release. When Goten performs his rush attack, the animation will release the opponent by sending him in a straight horizontal direction. While an attempt to follow this rush attack with a supplementary rush attack will fail, performing a transformation directly after the release of the first rush attack will allow the waiting period to be covered by the transformation. As soon as the transformation is complete and the opponent has been released outside of the step-in barrier, Goten can activate another rush attack that will cover the distance of victim release, and a supplementary rush attack can be linked. As Goten can transform from base to Super Saiyan form and back to base again, this technique can be used several times given the opponent does not teleport defensively. This tactic is not limited to simple transformations such as Goku turning Super Saiyan. It can be used with fusions, absorptions, and even tag-ins. This is also a major difference in characters that a lot of players have ignored in the Tenkaichi series. Even differences such as which characters can transform and which ones cannot will play a big factor in how a player takes a victory. The understanding of real time versus game time is very important when regarding the pace of gameplay. In many games, the flow of a match can lean in favor of either player, and it is up to the opponent to find a way to turn the tide. In most cases, this requires a player to change up his style or his rhythm. There are many factors that can dictate the pace of a player's metagame. His style in relation to the opponent's style, his character, the stage, venue settings, match stipulations, his relationship with the opponent, his emotions, and so on. These factors aside, I mentioned that it is the player's responsibility to change the style or rhythm of the opponent. The style of an opponent may seem obvious at times, more so than others, but one may find that the rhythm of the opponent's gameplay can be very difficult to find. Whether or not the player is aware of the fact, most players tend to engage their opponent or their opponent's attack with a specific rhythm. This is true for actual fighting as well, and it is important to understand this relationship before moving forward. Let us consider the concept of two dance partners engaging in the salsa or even the waltz. For relating purposes, we'll consider player 1 to be the dancer who leads, and player 2 the dancer who follows. The aspect of dancing that exhibits such beauty is the ability to establish harmony. As player 1 moves his left foot forward, player 2 moves his right foot back. As player 1 moves his right foot back, player 2 moves his left foot forward. In a fight, or more to reflect our scene, in a virtual fight, two players are engaging in somewhat of a dance, neither one firmly familiar with the opponent's rhythm. At this point, a player can attempt to bulldoze over his competition, thinking that an all-out assault will be too chaotic for the defending player to comprehend, but this may risk giving up too much against an opponent that can catch on quickly. Truly getting to know the opponent's rhythm is when a player has true control. Considering the concept of the leading dancer, player 1, and the following dancer, player 2, if player 1 figures out player 2's rhythm first, He knows exactly what the opponent will do in response to every move he makes, and he has full control. If, on the other hand, player 2 figures out player 1's rhythm first, he knows exactly what the opponent is attempting to do and knows exactly how to respond. Player 2, in this case, has full control. If you're familiar with this concept, then you should be able to recall times when you didn't even need to bring up your guard in close proximity because you knew it was not time for the opponent to attack. This only enhances one's strafe zoning abilities. Now, it would be presumptuous to say that either player will always take the lead or follow, for these roles are interchangeable and may change at a constant rate throughout any fight. However, as soon as a player figures out the opponent's rhythm, regardless of the role, this may dictate the outcome of the fight. As I stated earlier, it is the player's responsibility to change the style or rhythm of the opponent. In many fights, this may be as simple as pulling back from a normal offense, springing forward from a normal defense, spamming projectiles, etc. In many cases, a player may need to wait until the match is over and then choose a different character that requires a different rhythm for the next match. He may even need to choose a different arena. However, in the case of Tenkaichi 2, a player that understands the concept of real time versus game time and how the advantage can be seized, changing up the opponent's rhythm may be as simple as transforming, performing a fusion, or switching out tag team characters for a real-time lapse. It is as Bruce Lee would say, it is difficult to have a rehearsed routine to fit in with broken rhythm. Just keep in mind that one's rhythm can be broken with a variety of methods in Tenkaichi 2. Now that we are starting to break into the semi-advanced side of Tenkaichi gameplay, I believe we can now discuss further cancellation concepts in the creation of new maneuvers. So stay tuned for the next episode. This is ZeroAnnihilated, and you are watching Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 Evolution.